Hi Scorpio, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your July 2025 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's a Celtic crossword as always, and also pulled the 4 agreements and wisdom and oracle card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your folks should be as far as that goes. Alright, we have Taurus. So Taurus is actually a 7th house of relationships, partnerships, and contracts. We have Venus there until the 4th of July. We also have Uranus there that's been there for quite some time, and it's going to be moving into Gemini on the 7th of July. So you might finally feel that shift when that happens. But yeah, you could definitely see some impact to that area of life this month. Alright, we have 9. So 9th house energy for you guys is Cancer, and of course it makes sense to see that come up as far as we're about to enter into Cancer season. Mercury is currently there. It's going to be moving into Leo soon, but what else do we have? Obviously the Sun will be there. Jupiter moved in there recently. At the very end of the month, Venus will move there, and of course we have a new moon coming up in Cancer. So yeah, definitely makes sense to see that come up in that regard. And Venus. So yeah, so actually just mentioned at the very end of the month, Venus will be moving into Cancer, but currently it's in Taurus, which, like we mentioned, is your 7th house. It'll be in Gemini for most of July. And then, like I said, at the very end of the month, it'll move into Cancer. So it'll be moving from your 7th house to your 8th house for most of the month, and then finally into your 9th house. So keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Knight of Pentacles, Virgo energy. And challenging that, we have the King of Cups, which is actually the card for your sign. So, seeing these two things here, I feel like this is saying that you might have gotten an offer recently to collaborate in some way. Could have been business, friendship, romantic, you name it. But it looks like there was a resistance on your part to doing so. Mostly because it seems like you might have just been more in a more solitary energy to where you didn't necessarily feel comfortable partnering up in some kind of way. But yeah, it looks like at the very least this was an offer that came your way and you were reluctant to accept it. Alright, in the foundation position we have the 8 of Pentacles, so more Virgo energy here. So yeah, it could just be saying that mostly you were just keeping to yourselves, right? And so seeing that too, seeing a Knight offer versus you guys in the King position could also just be saying that maybe your reluctance to accept that offer was because you didn't necessarily feel it was at the level that you would like it to be at. So you might have felt like you were just better off sticking to your own thing. Alright. In the past position, we have the 3 of Wands. So this is Aries energy here. And yeah, could just be saying that ultimately you were looking for an offer to come your way. So it's not so much a matter of you not wanting an offer at all. But again, like I said, I feel like this makes the team a little bit more likely that you were just hoping for that offer to be of a bit of a higher caliber. All right. In the present position, we have the 8 of Wands. So yeah, so this could just be saying that there's going to be a lot more movement for you guys this month, maybe a lot more opportunities coming your way. As to whether or not you see those opportunities as ideal for you to act on as well, it's still a little bit up in the air, but at the very least, it looks like you might be seeing more motion this month. In the near future position, we have Justice. So this is actually the major arcana card for Libra energy. So yeah, this could just be saying that maybe on a certain extent, you guys might be figuring out the best way to balance around the situation, right? So like I said, as far as if you're getting a lot of offers, but maybe they're not up to the level you would like, and at the same time, there is a part of you that might now be shifting into an energy of at least having more of a desire to partner up, then you might figure out a way where maybe you could figure out a way to contribute a little bit more to make it more likely that that opportunity would come your way. All right, present energy. on the energy of your influence in the situation, we have the Knight of Swords. So yeah, so this is Gemini energy here, and this could just be saying that as we've been moving through Gemini, maybe you've become more action oriented recently, right? So it could just be saying you, even if you were just waiting for the right kind of situation to come along, I feel like this is saying that you weren't necessarily letting the time completely pass you by. I feel like this is saying that you could have just been more goal oriented for yourselves at the time. All right, in the environment position, we have the Seven of Wands. So yeah, so to me, this is another indicator that says that there probably are offers coming your way. It's just a matter of, are you actually happy with the offers that are at play? It seems like that's not the case, but again, like I said, it looks like there's that tricky energy where there's the part of you who would like to partner up in some way, but it just feels like the people who are trying to partner up aren't necessarily the ones you were hoping for. All right. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So in this regard, I feel like this could be a little bit more of a fear on your part, where you just might feel like these opportunities that you accept, you just don't want to put yourself in a position where you might be in position to lose, right? So like I said, for example, if a knight comes along and you're viewing yourself in the king level, you might feel like, well, I don't know if I want to partner up with them because I have more to lose from the situation than I do to gain, right? But it could just maybe be thrown a little bit out of balance to where it might cause you to pass up more opportunities than you originally planned on. All right, and in the outcome position, we have the Nine of Swords. So Gemini energy here. So yeah, this could just be saying that ultimately you just might be really stuck in your heads around what to do with the situation, right? Because like I said, that is like this push-pull dynamic, whereas there's that part of you that does want to enter into a partnership. Seems like there's plenty of offers coming your way, but again, like I said, it just seems like none of them really grab you in a way to where you're like, yeah, this is the one, I definitely need to go for it. So but yeah, like I said, maybe the key would just be to figure out a way to be a little bit more proactive about it. You know, I feel like you could still totally be more in a receptive type of energy, but just maybe get a little bit better at spotting the right opportunity when it's in front of you. All right, and bottom of the deck, we have the Seven of Swords. So Aquarius energy here, and yeah, maybe this is saying that ultimately this is part of your reluctance to enter into a partnership too, right? Because it could just be saying that maybe in the past when you did so, you were taken advantage of in the situation. So there could just be that fear on your part that it might happen again if you're not really careful. So it seems like, your thought process isn't without reason, but it could just be saying with the justice in the near future that maybe you'll find that, okay, maybe you just took it a little bit too far. It's like you had the right idea of saying, okay, I'm going to be really cautious and filter through these offers and make sure I'm not jumping into another situation where I could be taken advantage of, but maybe, just not taking it to the extreme where you're just pushing away everything at the same time. All right, from the Four Agreements deck, we have Be Impeccable with Your Word, and it says manifest your true intentions. Right? It says regardless of what language you speak, your intent will manifest through the word. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will be manifested through the word. So interesting message there, especially because it does remind me of the fact that we actually do have Mercury retrograde that'll be kicking off right around the middle of July 18th, I believe, in Leo. So given that that's in your house of career, right, could just be saying that make sure that there's no confusion around communication when it comes to that area of life this month, if you could avoid it. All right. And from the Wisdom Oracle, we have Yin. There's the artwork, and the number is 2. All right, we'll see what this has to say. Essential meanings says the feminine principle of receptivity, letting someone else make the first move, gathering information and taking in cues, the art of conscious allowing. The Oracle's message: this is a time of calculated receptivity as you gracefully await what is coming to you, ready to accept it when it appears. Yin does not involve frozen dreams or even resting, but rather consciously allowing things to flow to you, poised to receive the bounty that will be made available to you. It implies sensitivity as you alertly study the actions of others and contemplate how they will affect you and yours. Remember, you must make space for miracles to appear. Be the shaped, not the shaper, and you'll see how quickly your dreams manifest. So yeah, that message there about conscious allowing could just be saying that maybe that ultimately is what it was for some of you, right? To where maybe you're just putting up a little bit too high of a wall to where you're just blocking out everything. The relationship message says, let others take the lead right now. Your power lies in small gestures, self awareness, and conscious surrender. By yielding the reins, you will find yourself effortlessly moving closer to what you truly desire. Permit others to tell you who they are and who they can be to you by allowing their actions to speak about them. You will be pleasantly surprised. So yeah, definitely a positive message there. I mean, we did mention at least maybe there's a possibility this could be around romantic connections, especially given that we saw your house of relationship show up in the dice as well. So if that's the case, hopefully that message resonated. The prosperity message says this is a time when the most effective action is to allow others to show you the way forward. Observe their behavior and follow their lead. Your desire to push through must take a back seat for now. Collaborate and offer your ideas rather than dictating what must happen. Let others come to you. It's important that they feel they have the power now. Another meaning is about releasing your need to have things in the form you want. How do you want to feel? Bask in your success. Now allow the universe to show you the form. Yin is the sign of essence. Things may go more smoothly than you expect. So yeah, so there's definitely something here that seems to point to, like I said, maybe a lack of trust on your part because of a situation that you went through where you might have been taken advantage of, and now to where that could just be going a little bit too far to where it could be causing some blockages for you in some situations now as well. So yeah, I feel like ultimately it's saying definitely still approach things with caution, but at least try not to block everything out at the same time. So hope whatever is any for you guys will wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.